Hey everyone, my name is Wedge and welcome to our second Amonkhet preview video of the day. In case you missed the first one, you can check it out right here. We went over a lot, including a new Planeswalker and more standard playable cards than you can handle. Alright, now without further ado, let's jump right into the second half of today's Amonkhet spoiler awesomeness. Hope you enjoy the video, and if you do, remember to hit that like button, helps out a lot. Curator of Mysteries is 2 of anything and 2 blue for a 4/4 Sphinx with flying and cycling costing 1 blue. Whenever you cycle or discard another card, scry 1. The absolute most important thing about this card, there's no cost to the scry trigger. That is beyond huge. Not only is it a 4/4 flyer for 4, decent cost, but it has cycling on the cheap in case you don't need it, and that scry trigger. I'm so used to seeing pretty dirtily Sphinxes, not this time. The Curator is a limited powerhouse, and if cycling creates a real presence in the standard format, maybe we can make a cool brew with this. I'll add it to the list of potentials. I am quite impressed. Very nice. Battlefield Scavengers, 2 mana for a 2/2 Jackal Rogue, great creature type with Exert. You may exert it as it attacks. Whenever you exert a creature, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. Ooh, I like this a lot. It's sort of an Exert Lord. It triggers on any Exert, not just the Jackal itself, sort of gives you more incentive to exert because you get to rummage. Not bad. A 2/2 for 2 is going to be a filler and limited, so nothing to write home about there, but that discard draw, it's decent. Hazoret's Favor is 3 mana for an enchantment. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may have target creature you control get +2/+0 and gain haste until end of turn. If you do, sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. I'm honestly not even sure what to think about this card. I think it's hilarious with active treason effects. You grab something, pump it up, then sacrifice it. That's good stuff. But beyond that, you're really doing a number on your creature count. If you can find a way to create enough tokens to make this an engine, then we might be talking. Because a boost to power and haste on a trigger, that's pretty nice and tough to deal with over the long term. Again, as long as you have the creatures to do it. Of course, you could just play this in Commander in something hysterical like Shattergang Brothers, Prosh, even something like Marath or Gahiji. Okay, never mind. I'm actually totally into this card now. It's going to be really fun for Commander, I think. Oh, Magma Spray is coming back. Color me intrigued. The last time we saw this was in Journey into Nyx, where it did some solid work, especially because you get to exile the creature that it destroys, which is particularly useful in a standard full of, embalm creatures and Scrap Heap Scrounger. Wow, that dude is going to take a beating in this set. Anyways, Magma Spray is a solid addition to Standard, will absolutely make the cut in the 75 of a lot of red decks, guaranteed. Soulscar Mage is 1 red mana for a 1/2 human wizard with prowess. If a source you control would deal non-combat damage to a creature an opponent controls, put that many -1/-1 counters on that creature instead. Well, hot cross buns. This is basically Monastery Swift Spear, except totally degenerative, letting all your spells wither away your opponent's creatures. Now this is the kind of -1/-1 counter shenanigans I was looking for. Soulscar Mage is incredibly powerful, and putting those counters on instead of damage adds a whole other level of versatility to burn spells in red decks. Honestly, that Mage is looking standard viable for sure. Cannot wait to test it out. Wither is such a fun mechanic. Oh baby, this is gonna be good. Note to self, stay out of the Amonkhet wilderness. Colossipede is 5 mana for a 5/5 insect. Now, there's no text here, but just look at this thing. Is this what the Amonkhet people have to deal with every day? And this is an insect? What a terrifying plane to be born on. Talk about drawing the short straw. Jeez. Pouncing Cheetah is 3 mana for a 3/2 cat with flash. As someone who was playing during 9th edition, I can't help but feel sorrow for King Cheetah, the infamous flash cat. Now Pouncing Cheetah has taken the throne as strictly better. Oof. Hate to see that. Tough break, King. Try again later. Regardless, it's a decent limited card. Not going to make a ton of waves, but Flash lets you dumpster an opponent in combat, which is cool, and 3 power is nothing to ignore. I'm a fan. Watchful Naga is 3 mana for a 2/2 Naga Wizard. You may exert the Naga as it attacks. When you do, draw a card, and limited powerhouse. You do exert it so it doesn't untap, but getting to draw a card, worth it. When you get through, especially in a green deck, you need to take advantage. This is a great way to do that. Simple card, but definitely playable with that card advantage trigger. Hapatra, Vizier of Poisons, is 1 black and 1 green for a 2/2 legendary creature human cleric. When Hapatra deals combat damage to a player, you may put a -1/-1 counter on target creature. Whenever you put 1 or more -1/-1 counters on a creature, create a 1/1 green snake token with Death Touch. I'm having a lot of trouble evaluating this card, I won't lie to you. 2 mana for a 2/2 is and there isn't a single combat keyword that comes along with it, but you still have to deal combat damage to a player for your first trigger. I think the second trigger is much more powerful. Whenever you put one or more -1/-1 counters on a creature, so it doesn't have to be the Vizier herself, it can be literally anything that places the counters. Now that's interesting. 1/1 snakes with Death Touch can be quite formidable on the ground, basically clogging up the board. This would be a great payoff card in Limited for a -1/-1 counter deck, and if something does come along in Standard that uses a -1/-1 engine, Hapatra may have a chance. Beyond that, I really don't know. I love the design, I'm just waiting to see where she falls. Bit awkward. Failure is 2 mana for an instant. Return target spell to its owner's hand. Comply is 1 white mana for a sorcery with Aftermath. Choose a card name until your next turn your opponents can't cast spells with the chosen name. Talk about the most oppressive blue-white Azorius card ever. Failure to comply is basically the dream of all control players everywhere. I mean, sure, failure isn't remand because it doesn't draw you a card, but it's going to delay a lot of bad stuff for a cheap cost, and that's what blue-white's all about. If there are games where big things are happening or you just need extra time, failure is going to help you delay death and get you those precious turns you need to turn the corner. Comply, on the other hand, now that's a bonkers card. Especially because you just returned the spell you don't like to your opponent's hand, which means you now know what is in there that you don't want to see. If your goal is to delay, failure to comply may be one of the best cards I've ever seen at doing that. Say hello to Reflector Mage all over again, but this time shiny and new. It's good to see you back, old friend. I'm feeling very excited about this. We also got to see the exclusive cards from the Amonkhet Planeswalker decks. Gideon is basically what we expected, 5 mana for a 5 loyalty Planeswalker. It is from the pre-con deck, so you can't expect too much, but he's fairly costed, I guess. The +2 is a bit strong, so I get it. In addition to Gideon, we have Gideon's Resolve, 5 mana for an enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, you may search your library and/or graveyard for a card named Gideon Marshall Paragon, reveal it and put it into your hand. Creatures you control get +1/+1. Super expensive Anthem effect, but you do get to search for your Gideon Planeswalker, so there is that. It's nice for casual play. Same thing with Companion of the Trials. 3 mana for a 2/2 Bird Soldier with Flying. You can pay 2 mana and untap target creature. Activate only if you control a Gideon Planeswalker. It's pretty straightforward, but decently powerful. On the Liliana side of things, we get a bit more crazy. She has a whopping 7 mana, and while we thought she might start at 6 or 7 loyalty at the very least, nope, 5 loyalty. Criminally low, just crazy low. Funny enough, I think Liliana herself is the most boring of her exclusive cards. Liliana's Influence is 4 of anything and 2 black for a sorcery. Put a -1/-1 counter on each creature you don't control. You may search your library and graveyard for your Liliana Deathwielder Planeswalker. See? This is a card I can get behind. Just blanket the entire battlefield with -1/-1 counters, that's very cool. And Desiccated Naga is 3 mana for a 3/2 zombie Naga. You can pay 4 mana and target opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life, only activate if you control a Liliana Planeswalker. All I care about on this card, the artwork. That is scary as all heck. Seriously, the zombie Naga from my nightmares, geez, just straight up creepy. We're getting so many cards so quickly I'm barely able to process them all. Now that we're almost halfway done seeing the set, how do you think it's shaping up? Is this a set that you're interested in? Does it feel like something you want to play? Do you think Standard is going to be saved by it? I suppose that's a pretty important question, right? Regardless, let me know how you're feeling in the comments and we'll talk about it. Also, be sure to stay tuned to the channel for the latest and most reliable Amonkhet spoiler information you could ever need. As always, thanks for watching and we'll see you next time. This video is brought to you in part by TCGplayer.com. We've seen a lot of the sets so far, and you know what that means. It's time to start thinking about whether or not you want to pre-order. If you do, you can get boxes of Amonkhet pre-ordered right now from TCG Player for $91 each. Great price, best around. If you want the set, just click the link on the screen. Fair, cheap prices helps the channel. You get awesome cards. Win-win. Enjoy.